And good morning. Try to. Hello, it's Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. Griffin's here. Carson Weekly is here as well on a Tuesday edition of the program. Kind of a sad Tuesday morning in Baltimore. We'll talk about it plenty, obviously. But look, whatever your opinion is, whatever your emotions are, whatever your feelings, the thing that stands out the most to me is it's important that we continue to be grateful for the fact that there was an athlete that cared about this place and that wanted to take the mantle of being a face of this town and this franchise and for this fan base, despite everything that person was going through. Continued to care about that and appreciate it. And may that never wane. You know, it's interesting to me. In recent years, in conversations I had both with Buck Showalter and Adam Jones, they've brought up, everybody's forgotten me about me back there. And I'd be like, what the hell? What are you talking about? Everybody's forgotten about you. You're beloved here. My God. You'd never have to pay for a meal in this town. But yet, I understand the way they feel, which is once you're gone, it's not the same. It can't be. Because you don't feel it every day. You don't feel it every moment. You're not walking around having somebody come up to you and say, hey, dude, I love you. You're somewhere else. And in that place, it's not the same. Once you're gone, it's never the same. And you can't fix that. You can't change that. I hope we continue to have the same love and appreciation for Trey Mancini as he moves on in his professional life that we've had since he's been here. And to be fair, Trey, never even accomplished some of the things that those other guys we talked about accomplished. But we are so fortunate as a community to have had this athlete who cared so much about this place and wasn't just, hey, yeah, it's where I play baseball, but see ya. Whatever your opinion is, and I got lots of them. And I'm trying to wait until we get past 6 o'clock today to finalize like anything I'm going to say in a column. I just want to see if there's a totality of this. Is there anything else coming today? We all, even as I told you I didn't want this to happen, I constantly said, yeah, but I think it is. I never wavered on that. I always believed that Trey Mancini was going to be traded. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it. And I always said, hey, look, I would feel differently if I thought they could get something of significance for him. Well, you can argue that they did. And I get it. You got to squint in order to make that argument because you're like, wow, the one dude's having Tommy John surgery and the other dude's been terrible this season. And I get that. Like, I understand. And the reality is with Seth Johnson, who's having Tommy John surgery, that's the scenario by which you were going to be able to get a quality prospect for Trey Mancini. It had to be someone with a wart. You couldn't have done that for a straight-up top prospect in someone else's system because the commodity that you were trading didn't warrant that. They found a way in order to get a top pitching prospect from someone else's system. They had to be creative. They had to be willing to take on something that involves an amount of risk. But they did it. And that's not nothing. Does it make it the correct answer? We'll be here for a long time and I won't know what the correct answer is. Were the Orioles going to win a World Series with Trey Mancini this year? No. Is Seth Johnson or Chase McDermott likely to be the difference in whether or not they win a World Series in the future? Almost certainly not. Does that make this wrong? We throw around words, man. Because, you know what, Carson, tell everybody they're very pretty.
Every one of you. You all look wonderful today.
Today
especially.
It's very important.
You're pretty.
Thank you. You're pretty. We just want to feel like we're pretty. We want to feel like we won a trade. Did we win this one?
Maybe.
I have no idea. But you're very pretty.
That's right.
I get it. You just want to feel like a fortification. I want to feel whole. Like, I know that my favorite team did something right, that we won. Well, I don't know. I don't know if they did or if they didn't. We might never know, because we might never know what the difference would have been this season. I know my buddy Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs did a whole bit about, hey, this is the percentage likelihood of the Orioles making the playoffs with Trey Mancini, and now here's the percentage likelihood if we take Trey Mancini off the roster and put Kyle Stowers on instead, and literally it's less than 0.5% change. And so it makes you say, like, okay, well, all right, maybe. But we'll never know. Short of, Seth Johnson or Chase McDermott becoming an effing stud somehow here in Baltimore, which is also unlikely, but not impossible at all, particularly in the case of Johnson, even coming off of Tommy John surgery. Let's start today's show. My buddy Eric Arditti. It's been a while. Barstool Arditti. I believe he still owes us a bet, in fact. We got to deal with that at some point. BarstoolSports.com. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I still want that fact check. I don't think I ever got a confirmed, hey, you got last. I think that may have been like one of Kyle's going away gifts.
Hang on a second. Let me see. I believe I have saved the data from this.
You
bet.
100% did. I just needed to bring up that argument because I just wanted to kind of ruffle your feathers a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like you have purposely avoided it. So I think for people that don't remember, it's the prison pizza one, correct?
I think so. Which again, it didn't sound bad. It wasn't like
it is a lot of effort though.
That sounds.
It's a lot of effort to make a prison pizza.
Yeah, I'm fine with effort though. Like as long as it's decent to eat, it shouldn't be too bad.
All right. We will continue. I'm not going to let you forget about it, just so you know. I'm going to continue to bring it up every now and then. All right, so how are you feeling today? Like, what is, just give me your emotions. I know how much you care about Trey. Give me where you are this morning as you wake up.
I'm a lot better than I thought I would be. I was legitimately getting texts being like, are you okay? Like, not in like a joking way, being like, is everything all right? I was like, yeah, again, we knew this day would come. It wasn't a shock to anyone. Again, it sucks that it happened, but again, I think the writing was kind of on the wall. And I'm thrilled that it happened yesterday, and it's not going to happen at the deadline today, and it's not going to get to 3:30 or 4:30, 5:30, and we're going, wait a minute, maybe he is going to stay. Maybe
get your hopes up, right?
Right? Yeah, exactly. And then at 6:15, that's like, oh, by the way, this one just came through the wire. The Astros are getting Trey Mancini.
There's an argument for that.
It sucked. Like I said, like I found out we got a group chat with Jeremy and Sanzi and a couple of the other people, and Jeremy just sent us a message yesterday and just said Trey's an Astro, and we all kind of had the same 4-letter reaction that you can't say on air. But again, I also think, listen, if there's one thing the people in this town love, it's watching the Yankees lose. If the Astros were to knock the Yankees out of the playoffs and, go to the World Series, obviously people don't like them because of what happened back then. But I'd still in the camp of everyone is rooted for a team with a cheater on it. So, like, what are we even mad about anymore?
That does nothing.
I think,
right.
Yeah, well, it's
admittedly, I'm not even gonna lie. I was rooting for them to win the World Series last year just because I like Dusty Baker.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think they're a very likable team now. I think they're fun. And again, I will be watching every Astros game I can. I will be paying attention. And yeah, again, I want nothing in the world but for Trey to get a ring. I've even petitioned saying that the Orioles should hang up a banner if Trey gets a ring this year, just, kind of like it would be a nice gesture. But, it sucks. Again, this is a part of baseball and sports that we all know is coming, and it's never easy, again, especially with someone who you have a personal connection with. And, I've been at Mo's house with him. You've done countless events with him. Just there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and the people are like, oh, it's a business. No, I get it, but there's also a personal connection to guys like this. And again, 100%. Trey was, he is the top of the top. He's the best. Everything about him is the best. So again, I'm wishing him nothing but the best going forward.
How do you handle and this is the part that I don't know that there's a correct answer to. It's what does this say about the Orioles and where they are? And I'm not trying to be over dramatic about them prioritizing the continued rebuild over the opportunity that might have been in front of them this season, because I get it. I know they weren't winning a World Series this year. That's not a thing. but I don't think it's nothing either. Like, I do think that it's okay to be disappointed that Mike Elias would say, yeah, but, mathematically, like, we don't have a great chance at winning a wild card. Like, dude, you're 3 games out. Like, what are we doing here? Like, maybe just don't say that part. Like, I think it's okay to have an emotion about this season and what's shaping up to be special, and that it feels like they're not allowing it to play out as fully as is possible.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird quote when I saw that part. Because again, it's like, what are you telling the guys in the locker room? Like,
right?
Is Ryan Mountcastle right now going, what do you mean we're not going to make? Like, again, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll go 8-20 in a month, and we'll say, oh, but here's the real Orioles. This is what we thought. But maybe they won't. And it would have been cool to see again Trey kind of lead this team, into September with a playoff spot on the line. I mean, that's why we had him here. That's what we wanted when he came here. Yeah, and it's. I mean, you definitely. I understand both sides of the story. I understand people being like, listen, it's a business, and you have to get X prospect who's worth this and this compared to this veteran who's worth this, and you just put numbers on a spreadsheet and all that. But I also get the people saying, listen, this is a team who, like you said, is playing their best baseball in 5 years, 6 years, or whatever it is. Like, this is a team who is making fans come back. People who I know have not watched baseball since Ubaldo threw that pitch, and now they're like, I can't wait to turn on the Orioles game. So to them, and to a lot of people, it was not a slap in the face, but I think it was kind of disrespectful, just because, again, the story, the guy who he is. I mean, he's the guy who you knew who he was. People not from this town, not from this area, knew who Trey Mancini was for multiple reasons, and and all good reasons. Again, there's some guys who are not in the headlines for the best stuff. He's in the headlines for the right stuff. So I definitely get why people were mad. I see both sides, and I'm with you on the Elias, that quote. It's like, maybe.
Yeah. So here's the quote.
Maybe you and Sig keep that to yourself.
Right.
Maybe just don't openly say that to mass.
If you didn't see it, Nathan Reeves from The Sun tweeted out. I mean, Mike Elias did a conference call with reporters, and so everybody heard the same thing. Quote, but ultimately, I have to tether my decisions to the outlook and the probabilities of this year. We have a shot at a wild card right now, but it is not a probability that we're going to win a wild card. Like, Eric, to your point, like, the players are going to hear that. Like, I like Mike Elias. I'm not trying. I know you love the man. Even if he just changed the words there and said it's not a probability that we're going to win a World Series, like, I think all of us would say, yeah, of course, right? But, like, yikes, dude. Like, you've been one of the best teams.
Phrase it a little better, and I don't think people are getting that upset. Like you said, if he would have said, we have X% to make the playoffs, which is a place that we didn't think we would be at this year. Something like that to kind of, make it a compliment sandwich where you kind of put yourself down.
Right.
Then but then you compliment yourself.
Do enjoy a nice compliment sandwich. I'm a big fan of those. Do you want them to do anything? Like, this is the weird part, right? I was not as emotional about the idea of trading, say, a Jorge Lopez as I was about Trey Mancini. I, all along, was kind of on board with the idea of, hey, if you want to make a move, if you want to keep adding, use Lopez. He could be a real asset, and we all think Felix Bautista might legitimately be the guy that should be at the back end of the bullpen moving forward. I started to try to talk myself into the idea of acquiring a pitcher with some team control. Certainly that particular comment does not back up the idea that I think they're in the market to add, say, a Pablo Lopez or somebody like that. But do you want to see them do anything else, or at this point do you just want to say, okay, you did this, be done with it, roll these guys out there, let's go?
I mean, I could see them moving a Santander or something like that again. I mean, with how hot he's been for the last week, that wouldn't shock me. And again, that kind of feels like a move that we thought was coming this year too. And like you said, same thing with Lopez. I think if someone, again, overpays, gives you some top guys, I think you have to look at it all. But I'm sitting there thinking last night, and I kind of just went, you know what? I don't care what they do tomorrow. Like, this is the one that I had like circled, and it's like, I don't care. If they trade Santander, cool. Right. If they don't, awesome. Like, I'm not, I won't be like hooting and hollering one way or another. But again, it's like, at this point now, hey, if they improve the depth of the farm system, or maybe get a major leaguer. I don't know. Sure, like do whatever, Mike. It's whatever. It kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. Again, it was a little bit deflating, but I don't know, because I always thought too that a bullpen arm would go. I just thought they had too many. And it's a good problem to have. I just thought they had a lot of guys who other teams may want. So again, I know Lopez was connected to the Mets, and Aiken's been tossed around. So I don't know. If they want to move one of those guys, I think I'd be okay with that. Again, I'm not going to stomp my feet and cry and moan about anyone else on the team unless it's a Mountcastle or Hayes or anyone like that who they're not going to move. But
and thankfully, Adley Rutschman's the best player in baseball. So we got that going for us, which it's nuts, right? It's nuts watching this dude become exactly what everyone said he was. Like, it is insane.
Yeah, like again, 8 weeks ago, we had people flipping out because his first 25 at bats,
right,
he was hitting $150, and it's like, well, maybe he's not ready, and it's like, well, maybe you need to give the guy a little more time.
Oh my God, man! Oh my!
Who would have thought you need to give a baseball prospect more time?
Yeah, a couple of weeks,
25.
maybe. Right?
What do you mean? He should have been up. Juan Soto's been up for 3. No, they're not. They're not similar things.
Oh.
Be quiet about it. See what happens. It's crazy that a guy who controls a baseball team for his life is knows what he's talking about over some 19-year-old kid on Twitter.
Look at you. Look at the fire in Eric this morning.
I'm wound tight, buddy. I am wound tight.
He is worked up. By the way, there is also a small part of me that would say, it might go a long way with this fan base if after taking Trey Mancini away from us, you in the immediate days that followed put either DL Hall or Gunnar Henderson on the team to give us I'm not saying that's how a franchise should make their decisions, is like with us needing shiny objects to be happy. Like, we shouldn't all be treated like children, but I do think it would go a long way to ease the pain, to say, hey, but this is here now, enjoy it. I just think that might help.
It is funny how they kind of slipped Yusniel Diaz, like, hey, by the way, thanks, Trey, here's your video. And then they're like, by the way, we're going to bring up Yusniel.
Right.
Vitamin. Like,
and I
were like, oh, maybe.
I mentioned earlier.
Like, maybe Stowers.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. I mentioned earlier, like, I can't help but wonder about the timing of it with, like, nobody at all is talking about the fact that they didn't sign their 3rd-round pick yesterday. Nobody's talking about that. They've completely avoided.
That came down at, like, it was the same time almost.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, by the way, we're not going to sign the Ohtani Jr. guy from Oklahoma State.
Yeah, but you're not going to talk about it because there's something else. We got something else for you. And so everybody's forgotten about that part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to plug your podcast?
Yeah, Exit 52 podcast. We recorded last night. We're going to record again tonight if anything big happens with the trade. Again, if they trade someone, we'll probably update it. But we did our starting 5 of favorite Houston Astros of all time. So, and I'll give you a spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I had the first pick, and I think you can.
Wow, that could be anybody.
Know who I took.
It really could be. I mean, maybe it was Derek Bell. Perhaps you went with.
No, it did not.
No,
take Derek.
Didn't take.
Derek Bell.
Might have been Brad Osmus. Maybe was the guy that you.
No, he was in consideration. Sean Chacon was also in consideration because he has a great name. It's a fun name to say.
It is. I don't disagree with that. You know what? I screwed this up. It's a former Oriole. It's Glenn Davis. Glenn Davis is your favorite.
You're close. I did take Miguel Tejada in the second round.
That's not bad. At EDD22 is how you follow him on Twitter. Of course, Barstool is where you see all of his stuff. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk soon, all right?
Absolutely. Let's meet up soon, all right?
Sounds good, pal. Eric Arditti, Barstool Sports, checking in with us. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a part of me that wants to do the very over-the-top emotional thing. I tried to do it the appropriate way in the first couple minutes of the show. I am so unbelievably appreciative of Trey Mancini and what he has meant to this community, what he meant to Mo, what he meant to all of us, his willingness to take on the role as being the face of a franchise at a time where it wasn't a pleasant thing to do, where everything sucked, and most people would probably just want to not be here, and instead he was like, no, I want to be the guy. It's incredible. It's amazing. He deserves every ounce of praise we could possibly give him, despite the fact that he neither played in a playoff game or in an all-star game ever as an Oriole. I don't know who to compare it to, but I can't imagine there was anyone half as impactful with the same qualifications. Of course, he was on the roster in 16, but he did not play in the Toronto playoff game. And, of course, he participated in a home run derby, but never played in an all-star game. A remarkable, incredible human being. Good baseball player. Not a great baseball player, not a world changer, good baseball player, remarkable human being. We were so fortunate to have him. How will this turn out? Keep saying, don't know. It's a bitter pill to swallow. Maybe it will work out well. And for some people, they are just willing to say, I trust Mike Elias. I believe Mike Elias knows what he's doing. Some people are in a better position to just be at peace with it or, frankly, think it was the right thing to do. I have no idea. No clue. Because to me, the value of, as I keep talking about, relevant September games. I really do think this was a horrible quote from Elias. I thought this was... I like Mike Elias. I think it's possible it was just ineloquent, and he would regret it in hindsight. But I think it's gross. I can't believe that you said we have a shot at a wild card right now, but it's not a probability that we're going to win a wild card. I can't believe the organization said that. Even if it's true. You guys are going out to play baseball games right now to say, yeah, look at, sure, they're okay, but like, you guys really think these guys can win more games? You really think these jagoffs are capable of winning more baseball games? I mean, seriously. Come on. I can't believe Mike Elias said those words. And again, it might be nothing more than he got caught up, he regrets it, whatever. It could be anything. You can't say that. You are the Orioles. You put this team together. Just even if that's what you're like, literally, his decision might have been made by. I just don't think that we can do this. I don't think we have enough. So I'm going to go ahead and trade Trey Mancini. Even if that's the case, you don't say it. Say anything else. It's not a probability that we're going to win a wild card. It's not that hard. Like, they let 3 of them in now. You're not that far off. Can't believe he said that. But I still don't know that means it's the wrong thing. I value the idea of this team, even if they don't get in, playing meaningful September baseball games, because Carson and Griffin were freshmen in high school the last time that happened.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, I exactly was.
I don't think we understand. I know there was a nice stretch here in Baltimore from 12 to 16. September meaningful baseball games are incredible. And even if it doesn't work out, it's a feeling that we haven't had in a very long time and can help remind young people that have become disenfranchised with the Orioles, about how exciting it can be and what it can do for a region to have that and make people fall in love with the team again. When we say, hey, it's not likely that they're going to get in, that's not the standard to me. The standard is let's have people fall in love with the Orioles again and then go try to win next year. And that's the part that I struggle with. I struggle with not about whether or not it's realistic they were going to get into the playoffs, whether or not it was an opportunity to do something special at the end of this season that's been not taken away. Again, they looked great last night. Lost in all that. Hell of a performance last night.
I keep thinking about what Casey Stern said yesterday. Mike Elias is here. He's here to turn the Orioles into, a champion, into a World Series champion, not to be a 500 ball club. So I think, it's definitely a weird comment. I don't think that's a great
get
comment.
That, and again, I think Seth Johnson might be more than I expected, but I still don't know that I could say that's the difference in whether or not you're having a parade in a couple of years. And that's the thing.
Right.
it's the trade-off, right? And that's the nature of any trade. I'm not telling you it's the wrong decision. I'm telling you that anybody who's trying to say blanket it's the right decision or you had to put your head over your heart or anything along those lines, no. It might turn out to be that. It might. It might turn out that Seth Johnson becomes a critical piece of winning baseball in future years. But today, none of these things, these cliches that we're trying to use to make ourselves feel better, mean a lick. We don't know. And it's okay for someone to feel the pain of something like this. It would be almost inhuman to not.
I also think that it's like what Elias said. Obviously, we're pulling one little quote out of this whole interview that he did, but I think
it was.
I think him
quote.
saying that is sort of like not insult to injury, but like
it did
having to deal with Mancini going and then hearing that is like, dang. Like,
it was
two things in a row.
And I like Mike Elias. That's the problem that I have. I don't want to trash him. I just couldn't believe that. Like I had to read it 5 more times to make sure that's actually what he said. Again, it's not like I'm being ridiculous. These Jack. Of course, he didn't say that, but he did say it's not probable, which I don't know how anyone in that clubhouse could be cool with that. Like, if I'm in that clubhouse, busting my ass night in, night out, and I'm hearing the general manager say, yeah, but come on, it's not probable these guys can win. Dude, that's not okay. That's not. There's no way around it. That's not okay. I'm going to be irked by that. Now, maybe it's a good type of irked, right? Maybe it's the type of irked where I'm pissed off and I want to show you. Maybe. I hope that's what it is. And maybe accidentally, Mike Elias will provide the bulletin board material that was needed. The calls coming from inside the house. Maybe. But I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, maybe he's a genius.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. I was like, maybe he just did something really smart.
I don't know. I don't want to go. I hope that's the case. All right, today's show brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today. Young Yutes, we will do that. We will do regular show stuff today. We got other topics we want to get into, other guests, things along those lines. That's all on the way. It is a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Summer is in full swing, and so is the summer seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash-fried pork belly with their popular Korean No. 2 sauce. And try their South Carolina barbecue chicken, or back by popular demand, the lobster roll with grilled corn. Also try the irresistible crab and lobster fries, or the very berry salad with chicken. And for dessert, the Cracker Jack sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be gone. Find out more and get your order in at glorydaysgrill.com. Glory Days Grill, great food, good sports.
Hey, O's fans, get to Oriole Park early on Friday, August 5th at 7:05 when the first 20,000 fans 15 and over will receive a Cedric Mullins 30-30 Club bobblehead presented by Masson. Celebrate Cedric Mullins' historic 2021 season when he became the first player in Orioles history to join the 30-30 Club with 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases. Tickets start as low as $15. What better way to cheer on the Silver Slugger than at the ballpark that forever changed baseball? Buy tickets at Orioles.com/tickets.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and it's our very first Salute the Coaches issue. On the cover, we recognize Ravens coach John Harbaugh ahead of his 15th season. Also inside, find tributes to Navy football coach Ken Niumatalolo, UMBC soccer coach Pete Caringi, Maryland soccer coach Sasho Sorovsky, and field hockey coach Missy Maharg, Mount St. Joe basketball coach Pat Clatchy, and Poly basketball coach Kendall Peace. We also honor recently retired Johns Hopkins lacrosse coach Janine Tucker and Calvert Hall baseball coach Lou Eckerl, the athletes whose lives these coaches have impacted, offering insights on what makes them special and why they've stood the test of time. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Leon Twyman and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and offer you a few winners. And every other Thursday at 11:40, tune in for Weekend at Bookies as Andrew Stecca and Alloy Sports' Brad Kronthal help make you some money for the weekend. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday and Weekend at Bookies every other Thursday. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. Don't forget that full episodes of the show are available for free on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. But warning, you get what you pay for. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
All right, coming up in a few minutes, our weekly visit with the Norfolk Tides. Not weekly. Whenever they're home, we visit with the Norfolk Tides. And we'll be one of our own, a Baltimorean, Bruce Zimmerman. Obviously, it's been an interesting year for Bruce Zimmerman. We're going to catch up with him here in a few minutes. Before we do that, why don't we go ahead and do this? Because I'm not sure where else we're going to have time this morning. It's always the last one. It's very difficult for me.
Kind of a hard note to hit, though. So.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. It's not just that I have no skills. Totally not that at all. Young Yutes is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Start thinking about your plans for football season because the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel is getting ready to introduce betting tablets that you can take with you to your seat. You don't have to get up, watch all the games, bet on all the games, and you don't have to leave your seat. They're saying, hey, you guys don't want to figure out mobile betting? We'll figure it out for you. You got to be there in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. So start thinking about your plans for Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Ravens games, whatever it is, college games on Saturday. Where do you want to be? Well, I think you should be winning money in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. All right. What you got? What are the Young Yutes talking about?
So Love Island finished.
Trust me.
Miss Evan Sue from Turkey and Mr. David from Italy are the winning couple. And the general consensus
I was rooting for them, for the record.
The general consensus is that that's the right couple to win.
So Love Island is a thing. Like, people care about it.
Yeah, people really
do.
If you're not familiar, they basically take, like, 10 very attractive women and 10 very attractive men, put them on an island, and kind of just, like, let them mingle, and then one couple comes out and wins.
So how does – but I don't understand. Do they all just start having sex with each other? Like,
like, a lot of these dating shows, the rule is that there's no, like –
But I think it's the point of this one is kind of –
yeah, see,
they want everybody hooking up.
Yeah, so like they're hooking up.
Because
I
do remember there was another one. It was Temptation Island. Was the one where
I know there's one where they can't hook up.
Supposed to.
Yeah,
I think that's the one.
Yeah, there's one where like there's like a big pot of money, and every time somebody hooks up, they take money. Like,
right. I'm pretty sure that was Temptation.
Yeah, Love Island's a free for all.
Or was Temptation Island the one where they were taking married people?
Yeah, they're taking married or like engaged couples.
Yeah, and they were like, here's all these other attractive people that want to have sex with you. So I don't remember which one the one was that you couldn't have sex. But it's
a big market right now.
People really care about the Love Island.
Yeah, and there's a big rumor that there's going to be a Love Island United States at some point.
Wait, this isn't even an American show?
Yeah, it's like a UK
it's European.
show.
The hell is this?
That's
why do we care?
There's one that's everybody's talking with their British accent.
There's an Australian one. Oh, you know what? I think the one where they can't hook up is called Too Hot to Handle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because that one's in Australia.
Which one? What's the one on MTV that X on the Beach? Is that a thing? People like that one?
I think they just like all of them. Like these shows are very people are very into.
Is it because they're trashy or like because people are stupid?
I think
The Bachelor,
both.
I feel like the Bachelor phenomenon really was about women wanting to believe that like these people could fall in love. It was not originally about the trash
Not just women.
factor.
One of my best friends is way into the Bachelor and Bachelorette like every week, and
I think people like
very weird bit.
If you think about it, like they're all attractive. It's trashy. They're hooking up. There's money.
Well, that was
there's
why
big drama.
That's why
that's like $5.
That was why I
checked
like
off.
the Jersey Shore. That was
Right,
why I was.
yeah.
I'm not kidding. I became a massive Jersey Shore fan for all of those reasons. These people are trashy. I don't want to be like them, but I want to watch them. I want to watch them disintegrate, which is why all these new Jersey Shore shows stink, because they're not being ratchet and trashy any longer.
Right.
They're trying to be adults, and they're like, you can watch us get together to eat. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I can go eat myself. I have not. Is it worth me spending some time to find out if I might be a lover, or would you say?
I mean, if you
I think
really
I think I actually watched all of one season of Too Hot to Handle,
Jesus.
and
Oh,
it was
really?
that show. It actually I actually liked it. It was really good. It was pretty interesting.
All right. Next, I believe the young people probably care about this. I didn't know it was to the point. Like I just searched Love Island, and you're right. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. All right.
So the next thing, so Nicki Minaj went on Instagram Live a few days ago and pretty much discussed the state of her career and why things have been going a little bit downhill, and maybe she's been not downhill, but she's just not been as much at the forefront of pop culture as she has been in recent years.
Okay.
And
this is typically the way that the world works.
Yeah, that's
Typically,
what- well, that's
like
what I was
somebody else
thinking.
comes along and they're
And this has pretty much opened up the floodgates again on the Cardi B and Nicki Minaj debate. And who's better? And that's become. I mean, the live video has become sort of like a topic of discussion, but that video really just sparked the debate all over again.
okay. I have no opinion about this.
I don't
subject.
either.
They're both lovely, I guess. You know,
I guess
like,
Nicki
got-
Minaj, just because Griffin can relate. Like when we were kids, Nicki Minaj had some like hits from our
Oh, yeah,
childhood.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess. So I guess her,
That's
but
so
like
scary when
I
you
don't
say
know.
those words. Like
Anaconda. That song.
yeah, super bass. That was a
Yeah, that was a
big
good one.
Starships obviously
Ooh, yeah.
was quite a smash hit.
Damn, she was good. She was better than I remember.
Then Bodak Yellow came along and everybody forgot about
Right,
Nicki
right,
Minaj
right.
because apparently there can only be one. Although I don't know, there's Megan Thee Stallion and there's
Yeah.
Saweetie and there's
Yeah, but like it's kind of
Doja Cat, and
you're right.
there's-
It is kind of a ridiculous concept that people are acting like there can only be one. Like
I
like they're what if they're just all good? What if can't you just like them all?
I remember dating at one point. My wife and I, when we were dating, we broke up, and I dated another girl. And I remember she was big into like making playlists for me, and like she was actually quite good at making playlists for me. Like because she was a little bit younger than I was, so she had more of her like voice to the. So she made a playlist that involved. It was the first time I ever heard super bass. And I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing!
Yeah.
Like, where did this come from? I like Nicki Minaj. I believe if I remember correctly from trivia recently, the most followed rapper on Instagram. Nicki Minaj, still to this day. Because I guessed,
Let's go see how many she
I
has.
guessed Cardi B, because they said it was a female rapper. We had a trivia question. It was, this female is the most followed rapper on Instagram, and I was like, it's got to be Cardi B. Cardi B's the star of stars, and it was still to this day.
Yep, 139
Minaj.
million for
Oh, you know, maybe,
Cardi
actually,
B.
I take that back. Maybe we guessed Megan Thee Stallion because I am a fan of Megan Thee Stallion's Instagram. She knows how to Instagram.
Minaj has 201,
Yeah,
so
it's
she's
nuts.
got
Nuts.
62 million more than than Cardi.
She's fine. She's doing fine. Nicki Minaj. I don't know. Did the Young Yutes actually care about this?
I think so. I
right.
mean, if you look at Twitter, it's all
fair enough.
that's in the.
All right, and quickly number 3 because we got to get to Bruce Zimmerman.
Will Smith made an apology video for Chris Rock.
So you know what's really funny? This is how busy I've been. I saw it. I don't even know what he said.
I also did not check this out.
I watched a little bit of it. It's like I think
it also
a few
speaks
minutes
to
long.
how quickly we move on from things.
Yeah.
I do not care. Just go back to making movies. Like,
Yeah,
I
I don't think it was
over
necessary. Like,
I am over. I don't think it was necessary to make a video. I hope that like he privately attempted to reach out to Chris Rock because I do think that there's a problem there that needed to be handled between men.
Right.
But I am so over it. Like, yeah, it was bombastic and it was wretched, but like, figure that out and get back to doing what you do. And I don't care. It was insane for 24 hours.
yes.
And then after that, I was like, right, I have a life. I've got kids. I got things to do. I just don't care all that much.
it wasn't
more about
nuts when it happened.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right, good job. Thank you, sir. It's Young Yutes. Now let's switch gears. We're going to make our weekly trip. Not weekly. I keep saying weekly. We don't go to Norfolk every week. We go every time they're home.
It's a regular visit.
Regular visit with the Norfolk Tides. And this week it brings us one of our own and a man who we've gotten to know quite well over the last few years. He is pitcher Bruce Zimmerman, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Bruce, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you as always. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me back on again. I
Well,
appreciate it.
You know, obviously we've always rooted for you. Of course, we selfishly we root for everybody. We root for all Baltimore. That's the way that it works, and so we will continue to root for you no matter what happens. Bruce, I you know, I can only imagine this has been a weird season for you of baseball, and starting out with kind of the highest of highs and getting to be an opening day starter, and then going through some struggles. And being back to this point where you pitch, how do you describe the entirety of everything you've been through and how you're feeling now about where you are in your path?
Yeah, like you said, it's been an interesting season. Definitely started out probably better than I ever have so far in my career, and I learned a lot from that and took a lot from that. Hit a little bit of a speed bump there for a little bit, and kind of was trying to work on too many things at once, which unfortunately at that top level, you really can't. You kind of gotta be rolling on all cylinders at all times. So taking a step back and, being back here in Norfolk, definitely was a blessing in disguise. It gave me time to step back with a little less pressure and, get back to what I was doing so well in the beginning of the year. And these last few starts down here, I definitely feel like, I've been able to make those adjustments, and, working with Ramsey down here, he's the pitching coach, has been great. He's been an amazing asset, and, really gotten back on track. But, hopefully, took this time to make these adjustments. And then, obviously things can change so quickly at the big league level,
right.
Personnel. So, hopefully one way or another, get back up there. But yeah, like you said, it's been kind of a weird year for me, but definitely hoping to get back up soon to, help contribute to this team, because, for the moment I was back up there to fill in, for that bullpen role, just to be with those guys on this run that they're having. And
pretty cool.
The clubhouse and, how the guys were playing together. It was just a different feeling, and one that I've really, really looked forward to growing up as an Oriole, to see that kind of winning atmosphere and energy again, and to be a part of it in the clubhouse. So yeah, like I said, hopefully, get back up there and, can contribute again in some way.
Bruce coming off a 5-inning shutout effort in his last start, which is very encouraging, as you point out. Could you dumb some things down for me? Like, when you say you were working on too many things at once, is there a way to describe that so that, like, a layman, an idiot like myself, can understand what that meant and why maybe it didn't work for you as you were trying to do too much?
Yeah, I mean, it was simple is always better in season, when you're trying to tinker with things and stay on what you're doing well. And there was just a couple of things that we were working on that kind of went away from what I was doing in the off season to get ready to be in that shape that I was in the beginning of the season, have the success I did. So we were able to kind of just pull back and readjust the sights, so to speak, to what I was doing in the off season a little more closely. And, that seemed to clean things up relatively quickly. So it was mainly some stuff with arm path, but other than that, it was, just, like I said, resetting to what I was doing in the off season, to get my mechanics back to where the feel that I like them. And with Ramsey's help and, taking that time down here, I feel like definitely gotten back into the rhythm that I had in the beginning of the year, and brought the life back to my pitches that was kind of missing the last couple starts up there.
Bruce Zimmerman is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. I'm going to tell you more about what's going on with the Norfolk Tides in 1 second. I do need to take just a quick second. We have breaking news as we've been talking with Bruce. The Orioles have dealt Jorge Lopez to the Minnesota Twins. And Yennier Cano is the top prospect that comes back to the Orioles in that deal. We will talk more about that coming up in the 11 a.m. hour. But, as you point out, Bruce, there might be a need for another. You never know how this works, right? Like, it is kind of crazy. Yeah, with that said, if I could take a second, obviously you've gotten to know Trey really well these last couple of years. Everybody here is bummed, and I can only imagine how it feels for somebody like you. But can you put into words what Trey has meant to this franchise, this organization, to everyone he's come across over these last couple of years?
It's really hard to be honest with you. What he's meant to the organization and, to the city of Baltimore. And, he's been with us since the start. I think it's about 10 years he's been in this organization. So he's been, from the the end of the good times through the bad times, and then back into this, so close to turning the corner here, and finally being on a team that could make a push for the playoffs again. But that doesn't even begin to touch the character of the guy and what he means off the field in the clubhouse and to the city. Everybody knows he's going to go out there and he's going to work, and he's going to be that leader on the field, and he's going to show up every day, and he's going to give that example to the younger guys of how to go about their business. But the leader that he was in the clubhouse, the guys looked at him as kind of a steady Eddie, for throwback terms. But he would come in and he'd take care of his business every day, whether he was hitting or whether he was not. I mean, you just looked at that guy as the stalwart of the group. And obviously his impact on the city with like Mogaba and everything, and what he got. And, you could tell. I would have loved to be there, obviously, but I could see from the videos on, obviously his last hit, the inside the park home run,
Dude.
and the curve ball when he came out, it just sent a little chill down your spine, how much you could see the city felt that and what he means to them. So, I mean, I'm happy for him. Obviously, I think he's going to go and have a ridiculous year and playing in Minute Maid. And, I think as bittersweet as it is, a lot of people are very happy that he's going to get a chance to chase the pennant down with the Astros. But obviously would have liked to see him do it here. But
yeah,
like it'd be a tough pill to swallow for probably a little bit longer than most people will admit. Not having him in the clubhouse and not seeing Mancini in the lineup card every day. And I don't think it's hard to explain just how much it'll be impacted and how long. But his time here, he did probably everything possible a guy could do coming up through an organization to respect the name on the front of the jersey as well as the name on the back. And you just can't say enough good things about the guy.
Man, everything you just said is so powerful, dude. You're giving me goosebumps the way that you describe it. And what I'm really feeling there is the Baltimore in you coming out when you talk about the city, because I think you uniquely know the love affair that people have had over the years with Orioles in this city. And I'm not saying that this doesn't exist in other places. I'm sure, we went to Cincinnati and people will talk about that with Reds, but you know the way people talk about things. Trey was never once an All-Star. He never played in a playoff game, and yet this city was in love with him. I mean, it was he was a hallowed figure in this city, despite the fact that, like, the accomplishments wouldn't say that he was one of the best baseball players of the last decade. It's so uniquely special, and I do get the sense that even beyond being a teammate, you understand that a little bit more based on how this city works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy did everything possible, like I said, to ingratiate himself and to give back to the community and really take on what it means to be, the guy on the team, for a city to look to be like, he's the representative for the Orioles. Like, that's the guy we want to look to. That's the guy that we want to represent our city and to be there. So, yeah, like I said, it's really, it means a lot. Obviously, like you said, it's having a unique experience because even though I wasn't in the system, I grew up hearing about Trey and then finally seeing him and hitting 2 home runs on his debut and everything. And, from the beginning. So I have a unique vantage point of that. And, that's what any guy would want to do coming through an organization, that's been at his back from the absolute highs to, some absolute lows a couple of years ago to bounce back. I mean, there's just, you'd be a very different person and not find a way to be absolutely, the biggest fan of Trey and what he's done for the city and the team for the past, 9 years.
Let me come back to you for a second, Bruce. On a human level, is it difficult to deal with the disappointment, and maybe even more so because this is your city, this is your place. Is it difficult to deal with? Did you have to go through a minute where you dealt with self-doubt and how do you handle that? Like, how do you handle the disappointment, the pressure, all of those things to say, hey man, no, this is just the way this works. Sometimes people struggle a little bit, and you just got to get back to work and go for it. I feel like there's probably a good human story that somebody needs to hear in dealing with things not always going your way.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's Yeah, obviously it's one thing you never want to admit as a competitor, but there was, a couple times at the end of that stretch struggling where it was definitely hard to, stay positive. It felt like I was trying to do everything possible and nothing was, falling my way for a few weeks there. And that was probably one of the tougher stretches that I've ever experienced with success in my career. But at the same time, I knew going back to the beginning of the season what was there. And obviously I think there's more in there than even that. So to find a way to resettle and refocus and find a way to make a plan to get back to that point was probably the biggest thing. And then, obviously getting some success again and building on that and, just remembering what is possible, with how I can play. And then finally seeing the success down here and seeing some of the things come back that I know will lead to success, with pitch shape and, mechanics and all the technical terms, but mentally speaking, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a little bit tough to get your bell rung, once or twice, but you got to get off the mat and you got to stand back up again and go back after it. So I think that's one thing that I knew was always coming at some point, and everybody knows, you're gonna, as Marshawn Lynch always said, you're gonna get got at some point. So you just got to dust yourself off, get back up, and put the nose down and figure out what made you successful in the first place, and never forget that, because there's always a way to get back to it.
Do you feel like you're in a good place now for when that call comes? Like, do you feel like mentally you're in a place where I am? I have gone through all of this, and I'm ready, and I'm going to be able to provide this team some big effort between now and hopefully October.
Yeah, I mean, I would say right now, without a doubt, at least for the last few weeks, and especially right now after these last couple starts, everything that I've been seeing, I'm definitely feeling confident enough to come back up and do my job to the ability that I was doing at the beginning of the year, and provide length for the team and be steady in that regard. So mentally and physically, I think this is the best I've felt since the beginning of the year, and I'm only just waiting around to whenever that opportunity comes again to contribute to the team. Hopefully the guys keep doing the amazing run they've been on, and we can possibly push for that wild card spot, because I would love nothing more
awesome.
than the more side of me to be on a team that's pushing for that. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Tell me one thing that you've learned about DL Hall too while you've been down there. You know everybody is freaking out about that guy. Tell me one thing that you've learned about him and what makes him special.
Geez, I mean, it's hard to really pick one thing. I've heard about him since I came to the organization, but to see him in his some of the last couple outings where he's punched out 2 an inning for 5 innings, just to see how electric his stuff is. I mean, the guy's got raw talent and potential through the absolute roof, and I've really seen him hone in on some things in the last few starts, especially on the mental side of the mound, and he's really developing and maturing on the mound kind of at real time in AAA right now. And I think he could absolutely, I mean, he's so close to being, just absolutely dialed in from start to start. I mean, I can't wait to see him get up and show his stuff against the major league level, because I think he's still gonna absolutely dominate some hitters up there. I mean, his stuff is pretty ridiculous.
That's awesome. All right, the Tides are home this week. Giving away baseball cards tonight. It's also Faith and Family Night. Events this week include Car Wash Wednesday, Bark in the Park, as well as a $2 beer happy hour on Thursday, a towel giveaway on Friday, as well as fireworks on Saturday, a Marvel event at the game where the Tides will be wearing a Hulk jersey, which I'm actually quite excited for. I can't deny that. And just all sorts of stuff going on. Find out more by going to NorfolkTides.com. It's Invader_Z, correct, on Twitter, and it's just Bruce Zimmerman on Instagram?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Give Bruce a follow on those places. Dude, rooting like hell for you. Always will, no matter what. Greatly appreciate you coming on with us this morning. And open it up, too, man. Like, I know that it can't always be fun to talk about, but thank you for sharing everything with us this morning. We can't wait to see you back here in Baltimore, dude. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Bruce Zimmerman checking in with us here on GCR. Baltimore's own, pride of Loyola Blakefield, Towson University. And, you liked what you saw at the beginning of the year. Like, wow, you like what you saw. And then things did not go well for a while, and hopefully he gets that one more opportunity because it would be a very neat local story for him to get that chance. So, as we were talking to Bruce Zimmerman, the Orioles did indeed finalize the deal, or at least it was reported that it was finalized, for Jorge Lopez to go to the Twins. This, to me, is not stunning. We're still going to talk to Femi Ayanbadejo here in a few minutes, but we're going to make a programming change, and we're going to try to move Mike Devereaux to later in the week. Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs, who certainly is far more qualified to tell us about these players that the Orioles are getting in return, is going to join us to try to explain it a little bit better. I mentioned Yenier Cano, I'm not sure.
Like Yenier?
Cade Povich is the other significant player. That's a left-handed pitcher, Cade Povich.
Yeah, he's a high A guy. He's 4-6 with a 4.46 and 1.23 whip.
That's definitely not going to get those numbers. Aren't going to get people terribly excited. I'm trying to find out a little bit more. Again, I will pose these questions. Oftentimes,
Cano has like a 9+ ERA with the Twins because he's pitched for the Twins, but he's looked good in AAA.
Yeah, AAA is really good. 1-1, 1.9 ERA.
He's a reliever.
0.93.
He's a reliever.
Yes, Cano is a reliever.
Cano's a reliever. Cade Povich was ranked the 22nd prospect in the Twins system. So, the irony of this is I thought they were going to do really well for Lopez and get almost nothing for Mancini. The argument would be almost the exact opposite.
Yeah,
I think on paper they did better for Mancini than they did for Lopez.
They got an 18-year-old kid, Juan Rojas.
Who
we don't know
okay,
much about.
All right.
We don't know much about. 18-year-old kid.
Well, so welcome. Good to have you. Like I said, we will talk more about this with Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs coming up here in about 23 minutes. Look, the answer for what it means to the Orioles is very simple. Felix Bautista is the closer. And I think most of us, as we've been watching in recent weeks, we've all seen the same thing. Felix Bautista is the dominant arm in the bullpen. And truthfully, as Jorge Lopez did blow a few saves over the course of the last month, there was a part of me that was sort of like, maybe you do just get while the getting's good. Like, take whatever you... As you guys know, I have not been down on the idea. Now, part of it is I thought that you were going to get a little bit more than, again, on paper, what it seems like you've gotten. I'm not trying to pretend like I know anything about these players that the Orioles are getting back in those trades. But I did think that Lopez as an asset was going to be the type of thing where you could steal, like a real top prospect in the process for someone who was having a high-level season as a closer. That aside, I'm not worked up about it. And clearly it's not just that it's not like Trey. I mean, nothing could be like Trey. Trey was a piece of the community. I think we all like the story of Jorge Lopez and his son. I think that was a neat story early on this season. But we don't have a connection with Jorge Lopez, really. Jorge Lopez was found money. And that was sort of the thing that I kept saying whenever this conversation would come up. He was found money. Jorge Lopez was nothing. None of us had a thought about Jorge Lopez coming into this season, and the Orioles managed to spin him into being something that acquired them something at the deadline. Because of the depth that they have in their bullpen, I'm okay with it. Now, there is a deflating feeling now, the totality of you're just trading guys away. And it's not even 6 o'clock yet. Like, they could still try to trade away Jordan Lyles, too. There could still be something more to come. And as I said, that's a deflating feeling of, hey, we're in the midst of this special season, and you're over 500, and you're very much in the thick of things, and you're trading away, and you're weakening your major league team. And it would go a long way for this to be the preface to the arrival of someone else. I know I was joking about with Eric Arditti earlier today, but I mean it. I really do think that the emotions, what we're feeling, being down about what this means to the current team, could be alleviated if the Orioles say, hey, let us get through the moves that we're going to make, and then coming up next week, you're going to have a Gunnar Henderson, you're going to have a DL Hall around here. And a belief that those guys could genuinely help and close the gap a little bit on what it is that you've lost. we'll see. We'll see what the decisions that are made are. I'm not overly emotional. I can't be. It's Jorge Lopez. No offense. I can't be overly emotional about Jorge Lopez. But it is still someone who is performing well at the major league level. It was still someone who was an all-star performer for this team.
Yep.
I can't pretend like the team is just as good without him as they are with him tomorrow or tonight. But I do happen to think that Felix Bautista was showing himself that he was the guy.
And that overpowering arm at the end of the bullpen, that's the trend now.
It's nuts. All right. Hour number 1 in the books. We will talk more about the trades the Orioles have made coming up a little bit later on in the program. Right now, I meant to ask him if he wanted to do this earlier, and I just kind of forgot, and I apologize. He's one of my favorite people. I've always loved my conversations with Femi Ayanbadejo, and when I saw the news last week about the changes the Ravens were making, all I could think to myself is, like, why wouldn't Femi be a part of that? That doesn't make sense. So I just want to talk to him about it, see where he's at, and we'll talk some Ravens too. He is, of course, Super Bowl champ, and Femi Ayanbadejo is with us here on GCR. Femi, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing? You doing good?
I'm all right, man. Everything's all right. I feel like this is such an awkward thing because we're talking about a job that you lost. There's no way of getting around that, right? Like, there's no way of getting around that.
Hey, you got to remember, I'm an NFL football player.
Yeah, you've been through
many
this.
Jobs. I've acquired many jobs, and we don't always agree with the way they evolve or the rhymes or the reasoning for why people make certain decisions. But, if you operate with, a bit of character and humility, you always land on your feet. So, I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't hold punches. I'll keep it real. I'll keep it clean. And we'll just take it from there. Ask me. Feel free to ask me whatever you want to ask me. Don't feel awkward about it.
I get it. I appreciate you. This is what makes you so great. I would imagine you're disappointed. Can we start there? I would just imagine that this is not something that you wanted.
No, it's not. I think I was doing it for 2 years. I'm local. I live in this community. I've been back for almost a decade now. As you know, my brother played 5 seasons. I played 3 seasons. I interned under Coach Harbaugh, under the Bill Walsh coaching intern opportunity that was created years ago. I believe it was 2011 when I did that with Coach Harbaugh. I've been pretty much around, through the Modells, Steve Bisciotti coming on board, all the different guys in the scouting department. Everyone knows me fairly well over there. I love this football team. I played for numerous teams, and the Ravens are the only team that I care about. So yeah, it didn't go the way that I wanted to, but I think if we're doing the accounting properly and we're using a scalpel and not an axe, I think there's many people that were disappointed in the decision that was made, and I think many people were surprised as well as I was surprised. I think the communication could have been a little bit better, and I also think that the people that made the decision, I never had a conversation with. Not one time last year, not one time this year. It was kind of made, in my opinion, unilaterally. I think if you ask anybody over at Hearst and most people at the Ravens, I think they would say that they wanted me back, and I think that there probably could have been a middle ground and an opportunity to find a way to keep me involved, because I really do love the media gig. But obviously I do other things as well. So I think a little bit of unfamiliarity with me and the person in charge probably led to some of this. Them not really knowing my work ethic, them not knowing that I'm coachable. And if there were issues or concerns about the way that I did the broadcast, or if there's things they wanted me to do, I bet you had they asked, I would have said yes, but it never really came to that point. And just one more thing before you ask me another question. Rod is a great dude. He's a former teammate of mine, super intelligent. He's got a Hall of Fame jacket, obviously. So I have, this is not about Rod or any other person, whoever got the job. God bless him. Good luck to him. I'm a Raven all day, every day. So, I'm going to be cheering as a fan, and I'm going to be cheering for whoever's in the booth with Jerry.
But boy, you just covered 2 things. So the first one to me was going to be you're not angry at if there was an opportunity that came to you and said, hey man, we want to add Rod to the booth. Could you do something else with us? You would have been willing to listen to that.
Yeah, I would have been. I wasn't given that opportunity. Look, I'm not going to say names on air here because I don't think it's.
No, I get it. You're a professional.
Do that. It'll come across as me throwing people under the bus, which is not what I want to do. But I can tell you the person, in my opinion, the person who made the decision does not know me very well, and didn't give me the opportunity to talk about other things or other roles and I don't think they wanted 3 people in the booth, to be honest. But like I said, I was pretty removed from the discussions. I think Rob targeted as a person of interest to fill the role last year, honestly. And I think as things have opened up and traveling has become easier, and obviously, Rod became accessible, I can see the lure of Rod. I can see why, you know what I'm saying? And I just think that I came back here and I chose to come back to Baltimore for a reason. The Ravens were a big part of it. Going to Hopkins and doing my was a big part of it. My kids being here was another part of it. But I'm embedded in this community. I think there's certain things that I see. I think there's certain ways that I analyze things due to the way that my brain works from an analytics standpoint. I think I bring a little bit of a unique vibe. Yeah, you know my brother well. You know how we operate. Yeah. I think I bring a bit of a unique vibe to things, right? So I think I do things a little bit differently, but I'm always flexible. I think that the best ability is availability, right? Can you do it? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to take on some different roles, or are you willing to do it differently? Are you willing to put a little different work in? I would have said yes to all that. And that never was presented to me. So here we are. For
those that don't know, Femi points out I know his brother. I used to host a show with Brendan here, and it was one of my favorite things. And getting to know these guys, I love both of you guys. You guys have challenged me, and you have made me smarter. And I've always appreciated the conversations we have over the years. And I do know exactly what you're talking about with the way that your brain works. Femi Ayanbadejo's with us here on GCR. Femi, the other thing that you said there that I thought was critical was this doesn't impact your feelings about the Ravens. Like you're not holding a grudge here.
Oh no, absolutely not. I'm a Raven all day, every day, and whether I agree with a singular person in media's decision, my love, my affection, my experience, blood, sweat, and tears with this team is unchanged. It'll never be changed. I have a great relationship with Steve Bisciotti still. Coach Harbaugh and I have always had a great relationship. Coach Billick and I go back to the Minnesota days. I've seen guys come to Baltimore that I played with. Matt Burke from Minnesota was a Viking, became a Raven. Anquan Bolden, I played with in Arizona, came to Baltimore, became a Raven. There's a lot of guys like me who started in one place and ended up in another, meaning Baltimore specifically, and the rest and after is not relevant. Even all day, every day, play like a Raven. The character traits, the grind, the grit, being an undrafted free agent, even through Minnesota, I belonged here, and I will never let anything involving a kind of a job that is tangentially related to the organization, but really is run by a whole different group of people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a whole different ball of wax. So absolutely zero effect. I'm happy that Sashi Brown is here, by the way. I thought that was a great pickup.
It's cool.
Nick Cass was a mentor for years. I love him. He's always been there for me. There's been so many people at the organization level that if I needed anything, if I needed to reach out, they've always been there. So this is an unfortunate blip on the map, but in no way changes how I feel about this team and what I think this team can do, and how much I love Lamar and how much I love this defense and the draft and what they did, and Eric, and you can tell I'm a few.
I know.
This does not change anything about my love for this city and this team. Absolutely not, because once again, this is a person or a group of people who made a decision that they felt was best. I obviously don't agree, but that's neither here nor there. And who knows, right? Maybe something can come up later where I could get involved again, or maybe somebody will say, hey, you know what, this might be something good for Femi. And of course, I would always listen. I never let my pride get in the way of progress, because that's just a stupid way to act. Bridge. So you understand business decisions. And like I told you before when I first came on, being undrafted, you get used to being handed a certain, deck of cards or a certain cards, and you do your best to play them. And they're not always good cards. Sometimes they're terrible cards, and you do your best to navigate the table or navigate the room with what you have in your hand. And like I said, most times I land on my feet. So all good.
I love that, man. God, I love that. He's Femi Ayanbadejo. He's with us here on GCR. Yeah, it's hard to not hear your excitement. I mean, I think we've covered it. You're disappointed. I think we're good there. It's still not hard to not hear your excitement about this. Is part of this that, like, yeah, it's a particular bummer because maybe there was a chance that you could be broadcasting games for a Super Bowl team this year.
Yeah, no, definitely. A little inside joke. I always say that the Ravens only win Super Bowls when there's an Ayanbadejo involved.
So far, true. Right? 2 for 2, 100%.
So, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, maybe just as a lucky charm, maybe it just kept me around. You know what I mean? But no, I I think let me tell you this. I will do stuff with the Ravens needed. Matt Little, who works over at the Ravens, he does a lot of stuff for retired players and the Ravens alumni. Actually doing something at the Cap. Sashi's doing an interview, and I'm the former player who's going to be doing some Q&A on Thursday, actually, not tomorrow. I've done a ton of stuff with the Ravens and Safeway and the Maryland Food Bank and families that are food insecure. I'm going to continue to do that stuff in the community. That's all through the Ravens. So there are still things that I can get involved in. I think that this organization does things the right way, from the way it interacts with the community to the way it treats its current and former players, to the way that Coach Harbaugh, Eric, you name all the people that go back. They have a certain way of letting guys be who they are. They're not afraid to take risks. Everyone looked at Lamar as a risky pick back when he was drafted at the end of the first round. I thought it was an excellent pick. He was an excellent fit for the city. I think all that has come true, and I think Lamar has a massive chip on his shoulder, as well as the way that last year ended. I expect the Ravens to win the AFC North. I expect them to be in contention for a Super Bowl. And I'm not just saying that as a fan. I'm saying that as an analyst and a pundit. I really do believe it's severely underestimated this year.
What's your? I didn't get a chance to chat with you when Goose passed away. What's your go-to story when people ask you about that, dude?
Oh man, so heartbreaking, bro. So heartbreaking, because I just saw Goose at the
the
Baltimore
Meyerhoff
Symphony,
thing.
Maryland
Yeah,
Baltimore Symphony.
yeah.
Yes, and I did not go to his funeral, but let me tell you why I didn't go, because the last memory that I had with him that we shared was on that stage at the end of the Q&A that they did. And him and I were talking about the game, formerly the Commanders, Washington Redskins at that time. I got hurt in that game, and that's the infamous game where Goose had some stomach issues, let's just say, right? And I was in the bathroom with him when he was getting helped by the doctors. And I was reminding him of that incident, and we were talking about it. And what's classic is my girlfriend got the video of him and I talking on stage, and he let out the biggest laugh. He gave me the biggest hug, and Goose was at a loss because I was like, dude, I was in the stall next to you, bro. I remember everything. And we started laughing, and we hugged, and we hugged for like probably a minute rolling, And I have that video. I actually posted it in my Instagram stories the day of his funeral. That is my last moment in memory with Goose, and I'm not letting anything take that away from me. I want that to be it. I have it on video saved. I've gone back and watched it numerous times since his passing. I've had numerous teammates pass away. Chuck Evans, to bring up another one, who played with me in Baltimore and Minnesota. Orlando Bobo also played with me in Minnesota and Baltimore. But I would say that Goose and Chuck Evans had the most impact on my life in regard to feeling some certain type of way about losing a guy who's actually a few guys that are actually young and that influenced you and that you shared with and broke bread with and had drinks with. Goose and I, in 1999, it was Goose's show, but remember, think about the Ravens in 99, right? Brian had just gotten here, started out a little slow. Goose couldn't get anybody to show with him at the barn. Guess every Tuesday and did his show, drinking vodka with Goose, me. I was there pretty much every Tuesday, getting loose with the Goose at the barn on vodka sodas. Yes, that was me.
People don't understand.
That's like my first foray in the media.
Dude, nobody understands what a good time that was in Baltimore either, man. Like, what a time it was to be, like, falling in love with a football team. And I give Goose so much credit for this, right? Like, you guys were going to win a Super Bowl. People were going to fall in love with the Ravens eventually. But, dude, the way that he, like, personally went out and met everyone and said, I want to touch every person in this community. And I also want to make fun of them and I want to bust their balls, the whole thing. But he went out of his way to establish relationships, to make people fall in love with the Baltimore Ravens. And it's hard for I got two young people sitting at the table with me right now. Like, it's hard for them to understand the concept of, like, where the Ravens were and that love affair didn't always exist the way that it exists today. And, like, how crazy it was for guys like you and for him to go out and say, I'm gonna make people in this community fall in love with us.
Yeah, I watched there be 7 or 8 people at the barn, maybe another 10 would stumble in. And then as that season went on, I think we started 2-6, and I think we had a 5 or 6 game win streak during that 99 season, which was a prelude to the 2000 season. Obviously, I watched that place get more packed every time as we won more football games. As Tony Banks had more success, as Brian got more creative with the offense. The defense was always solid. Special teams was always solid. But the offense started to find his way. Kadri had a couple real big games in there. I think he had a 200
that Steelers
yard,
game. Dude, he had it all in
he
had it in one quarter.
Exactly. 2 or 3 touchdowns in that game. And I think we started to kind of find our way. And we always gave Jacksonville at that time and Tennessee at that time a run for their money. And they were kind of the class of the AFC at that time. And we always played them tough. And that was the old AFC Central, remember? So it wasn't the AFC North at that point. It was the Central. So there, it was Tennessee, Jacksonville, us, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati and Cleveland, I believe. I think I got that right. But generally speaking, though, we had a tough division. We played tough, hard-nosed football. And I watched people start to fall in love with that team. And you're right, Goose was a big catalyst in that happening, just the way he embraced the community and the community embraced him. It's hard to forget his personality and just who he is as a person. He did not give a damn about anything. He just wanted to have a good time and go kick ass and take names, and that's infectious.
It did it quite well. He did it quite well. And I'm glad you brought up Chuck Evans. By the way, what a hell of a fullback room you guys had at that point with you, Chuck, and Sam Gash. But I got to work with Chuck.
Yeah, no, you know what? Yep. That's a good point. You know what? We had a crazy backfield. Think about this. We had Jamal Priest.
Yeah.
I was the swing back, right? Because I would play tail and full, right? And you had Chuck and you had Sam Gash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insanity when you think about
decent room.
Just the flexibility of the room and different things. Yeah, exactly. Right. It was wild. Yeah, good time. And you know what? That started, and that kind of fully stacked backfield. A lot of that stuff started in Minnesota. You know what I mean? Because we crazy back room with Mo Williams, David Palmer, Robert Smith, Leroy Horde, Chuck Evans. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying I was the one who made it up. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I got to participate in 2 amazing backfields, starting with Minnesota and Brian's kind of concept of offense and how he used backs, and then him bringing that to the Ravens. So, yeah, pretty amazing stuff.
You want to remind everybody about Health Reel while we got a minute here?
Yeah. So I'm actually about to relaunch. So for those of you that don't know, I've been in the digital health space for almost 10 years now. I've been a human performance expert for about 15 years now. And I have a platform called Reel. And it's 2 E's in that Reel. It's not R-E-A-L. It's R-E-E-L, healthreel.com. Website, we have an application there that's free. It'll give you an assessment on first of all, it'll do a mental health assessment. It'll do a body composition assessment, a metabolic performance assessment. It'll give you some recommendations on healthy weight, caloric intake, macronutrients. It can be quite a lot. One of the cool things that we're going to do is we're going to add a coaching component to that. So a real live human can start helping people with it. Some of the data can be overwhelming, and some people have never seen this kind of data before. I started this while I was at Hopkins. I partnered with NASA through NASA Technology Transfer. I work with the space agency quite a bit. There's a NASA lab right here in Greenbelt. They have quite a few amazing algorithms that entrepreneurs can license. Whether you're just a person trying to build something, or just a citizen trying to come up with the next kind of big thing. So that's kind of what I've been doing right now. I'm on social media, Obafemi30 on Instagram, Obafemi30 on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. Always happy to help people out. And once again, I'll actually be one of the coaches on the platform when it goes live, probably in the next 30 to 45 days.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Obafemi Ayanbadejo. I'm bummed for you, but I also know that you're going to do quite well because I know you, and you're amazing. So I'm not worried about that in any way. Always appreciate you, my friend. We're gonna be in touch, and maybe there's a way we could partner up with you somehow. We'll be in touch. All right, I promise you that. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Femi Ayanbadejo, man, great dude. Love that guy, and I get it. Rod Woodson's a Hall of Famer, and he said all those things. I can understand the appeal, but it would be nice to see Femi. I do like the fact that Femi's here. I said that I like the person that's doing it being somebody who's here. I just do. I like that you have a feel for the community that's a little bit different. Coming up in just a bit, we will have Simply the Bets. We do it every Tuesday. It's brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. We will be getting to that around 11:40, 11:45 this morning. Weekend at Bookies returns on Thursday. Before then, let's find out more about what the moves the Orioles have made. Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs joins us next. Glenn Clark Radio. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The biggest pro wrestling stars today and all time all have one thing in common. You've heard them on Jobbing Out.
Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
The great Kurt Angle.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
The champ, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The great Ron Simmons.
Damn.
Keith Lee.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Bill Goldberg.
My pleasure.
Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mick Foley is with us.
This is the greatest name for a wrestling show I've ever heard.
MJF.
I'm glad you're happy I'm on this show because I'm freaking miserable. Le champion.
Chris Jericho.
Le champion.
AJ, Aaron, Brandon, and Glenn are talking pro wrestling every week on Jobbing Out. Find it at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a wide range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now, and it's our very first Salute to Coaches issue. On the cover, we recognize Ravens coach John Harbaugh ahead of his 15th season. Also inside, find tributes to Navy football coach Ken Niumatalolo, UMBC soccer coach Pete Caringi, Maryland soccer coach Sasho Sorovsky, and field hockey coach Missy Maharg, Mount St. Joe basketball coach Pat Clatchy, and Poly basketball coach Kendall Peace. We also honor recently retired Johns Hopkins lacrosse coach Janine Tucker and Calvert Hall baseball coach Lou Eckerl, the athletes whose lives these coaches have impacted, offering insights on what makes them special and why they've stood the test of time. PressBox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
To follow the show on Instagram, it's just Glenn Clark Radio. And to follow the show on OnlyFans, wait, I don't think you're supposed to know about that one. Any hoodle. Take it away, boys.
All right, back in here on GCR. Again, the Orioles, after dealing Trey Mancini last night, the Astros have sent Jorge Lopez to the Twins this morning. I read what it is that Dan Szymborski wrote at Fangraphs about the Mancini deal, and I imagine he knows a thing or two about the Lopez deal as well, so let's bring him in. Dan Szymborski with us here on GCR. Dan, it's Glenn. Always good to catch up. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
No problem. How's it going today?
Well, it's an awkward day, Dan, is the best that I would say, right? Like, it's an awkward day because there are so many different things. And I know you wrote about this at Fangraphs with the Mancini deal. There's the, hey, is it the right thing to do? There's the everybody wants to feel like they're pretty and that their team won a trade. There's the, the emotional element of the Trey Mancini aspect, far less obviously with Jorge Lopez. There's just so much here that I think the predominant emotion in town is more confusion than anything else. But we want you to tell us that, no, the Orioles have done things really well. This is very smart. This is a home run, what they've done over the course of the last 24 hours.
Well, I think this is the kind of thing that you kind of expect from the front office. It's largely, transplanted from the Astros, and they're going to be run a certain way, and there's good and bad about that. We'll get the bad out of the way is that from an emotional standpoint, it does hurt to see players go. Even if you think it was the right move, which I do, and I actually think both moves are the right moves, arguably, but you had to take the sour if you want the sweet. Like we could talk about, we're letting Jorge Lopez go, but that churn of relievers in Houston in the late 2010s, where you saw lots of live arms, lots of reclamation projects, that's the kind of thinking that also brought in Jorge Lopez in the first place, rather than what a lot of teams would have done a few years ago, sign a couple mediocre veterans to fill those gaps. So I think that even if it feels bad right now, it's still a positive development because the team has gotten better from in 2023 and beyond in the last day.
Okay, this is the interesting part. I mean, you mentioned 2023 and beyond. The one criticism that I felt like I could levy about these two moves is that it didn't seem to look at next year, right? Like, it looks like the players they acquired, for the most part, were going to be post 2023, and particularly the two that they got from the Rays. And maybe you can tell me a little bit more about, who could actually make an impact. And that's the one part about this that's tough for me to swallow. You want to say, hey, you're not winning a World Series this year, I get it, and you're still probably up against it for getting into the playoffs, but it felt like next year was the year they should start prioritizing and saying, hey, we need guys that are ready to go next year. How many of those guys have they really acquired over the course of the 6 players they got? How many of them are guys that are truly going to be helpful next year?
Well, there's an argument that Cano, getting Cano from the Twins.
Yeah.
He's a hard thrower. He did not have a great debut, but he is someone who, in a way, is like some of the relievers the Orioles have added in the last couple of years. He is a hard thrower. He is kind of raw. And, again, you saw a lot of that type of reliever in Houston who they bring along and throw in the bullpen and get 3 or 4 good years out of them. So he's someone who can help immediately. And, I remember Mancini's mutual option I don't think was likely to be picked up by both sides anyway. So the priority to get someone in that particular trade that will contribute immediately is more difficult. Because what happens is the sooner you expect a prospect to contribute, generally the lower the overall quality is because the risk is a lot less. And I think from the Orioles standpoint, they were able to pick up Seth Johnson, who was generally in a lot of top 100s coming into the season.
Yep.
And he was available because of that Tommy John surgery, which does have a pretty good success rate these days, especially compared to something like a shoulder surgery. I think that it's hard to turn down that opportunity, especially because when it comes down to it, players on the first base, corner outfield side of the defensive spectrum, the organization is quite deep in those types of players now. You have them in the minors, you have them in the majors, and to a large extent, Mancini didn't really fill as crucial a need for the O's as he did a few years ago. You can still love Mancini. He's going to, he's going to be in the playoffs this year for sure. He might be in the World Series this year, even if they said, hey, we want Mancini in 2023, there's nothing preventing that from happening. See Aroldis Chapman and the Reds-Yankees trade a few years ago.
Yep. The Orioles famously once upon a time with Mike Bordick acquiring Melvin Mora and then and signing him back from the Mets at the end of the year. Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs with us here on GCR. Dan, and the piece, this is the weird part, right? Like, I had said all along, I don't think the Orioles need to trade Trey Mancini, and if you're trading him for the sake of trading him for absolutely nothing, I don't think you do that. I don't think you just trade him to say, well, we got something for him. But I to your point about, and if you haven't read, we're going to link up Dan's story from Fangraphs, so we'll link that up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio. To your point about mathematically, it doesn't really change anything about their probability for this year, and they probably did better than could reasonably be expected because, they did take a chance on someone. By taking on the risk of a Seth Johnson coming off a Tommy John surgery, you get a higher quality prospect than probably teams could get for a positionless rental bat. So on paper alone, I can't tell you I'm excited about it. I can't tell you I love it, but I get that. I can justify that. On the flip side, I don't know, man. I really thought Jorge Lopez would be an asset that could land you something, really could get you legitimate kind of top prospects, and maybe you'll sell me on why there's the quantity is quality, but it really does feel like more of a quantity than quality thing here. I'm kind of on paper bummed out by the return for Jorge Lopez.
I would have liked a higher ranked prospect for sure, but it seems it's a case of the Orioles targeting depth a little more than one or two exciting pitching prospects. One of the notable things, if you look at the organization, for instance, to reference the Fangraphs rankings, obviously, because I know them the best, not just personal bias.
Yep.
Coming before the Mancini trade, we had 13 of the team's top 15 prospects as all hitters. And you look at the pitchers who are ranked highly, I still like them a lot. There's no reason to not like Grayson Rodriguez a ton. There's no reason to not like DL Hall. But their outlook hasn't really improved over the season.
Sure.
Rodriguez, of course, has that abs issue. DL Hall still has command issues and a little inconsistency to iron out. The Orioles need pitching, and they need pitching all over the organization. So I think here they looked at it and said, okay, we're going to get a couple lower-ranked prospects. I think Povich is probably the safest of them. He could be a back of the rotation starter fairly quickly. And you look at Rojas and Nunez, and they are kind of lottery picks, but they're the kind of lottery picks that this group did when they were with the Astros. Live arms, interesting. You accumulate a lot of these players. Some of them will work out and hit it big. It's kind of just, strength in numbers, making, a lot of long shot bets and seeing which ones pay off.
That's fair. And, I'm not here to doubt Mike Elias, right? Because I think he knows what he's doing. I don't know. I had talked myself into Lopez being something that was going to get you, that I was going to come away saying, boy, you just changed the next couple of years. And it's more we'll have to see, as you point out. We will have to see based on the depth they acquired with these moves. In general, as far as Lopez is concerned, do you think they were right to just try to sell high right now? Do you think that if the reasoning of this is, hey, look, we did the best that we could possibly do because internally we think Jorge Lopez has found money, whose season is truly an outlier as to what he is, and if we waited much longer, we wouldn't even be able to get this much back? Do you think there might be some reality to that and perhaps justifies just taking as much as you could possibly get at the deadline?
I don't think quite to that extreme. You look at his improvement as a reliever. You look at the increased velocity. He, as a prospect for the Brewers and Royals, he was throwing 93, 94. This season, full-time reliever, he's throwing 97, 98. There's a big difference there. His command is a lot better. You look and across the board, the contact rates of all his pitches have improved from his standpoint. So I do think he's a good reliever, but at the end of the day, he's also just a reliever. And what the Orioles have shown is they can build a bullpen fairly inexpensively. I think I'm much happier with Felix Bautista as the closer than Jorge Lopez long term. And I think this is the kind of the process where you discover pictures like that. Now, if they traded Bautista, I think I would fuss about that. But you look around the league, and it's hard to really cash in a ton for a closer. The Brewers traded an extra year of Josh Hader, who is an elite closer. Even if he's had a rough month, he's still an elite closer. He has a good outlook. And their net was only a couple fairly lower-level prospects also. I don't think we had either of them in the top 10 of the organization or with the Brewers. So I think that it was reasonable to trade him, even if it wasn't necessarily. I hate to use those words twice in a row.
Right.
But I think you can justify the return. It's just kind of where baseball is right now, where the Orioles are. And, I've been pretty hard on them at times, so it's not necessarily orange and black colored glasses for me.
What do you make of the idea that Felix Bautista should be this team's closer? That he just, whatever you do, that guy needs to be the guy at the back end of your bullpen because his stuff is just insane.
Yeah, I look at him like almost like Dylan Betances some years ago with the Yankees.
Okay.
His command has improved tremendously. You look at him through the minors, very promising arm, explosive fastball, but he always had, serious sinker, but he always had serious command issues. And you look at the turnaround this year, he's just been amazing. I think he is the Orioles' best reliever. I think he is the guy you put closing games. And I think that the Orioles have enough reliever arms that it's not that big a deal. It's not like he was the only guy, and now the replacements are all, 32-year-old pitchers who we got from, AA ball or something.
Okay. All right. I'm listening. I like that. Dan, I'll leave you with this one. I said earlier in the show, I think that the Orioles could mitigate some of the disappointment that fans are feeling if they followed up in the next week by announcing, oh, and by the way, we're bringing up DL Hall and Gunnar Henderson. Now, I'm not suggesting they just do that for the sake of appeasing fans. That's obviously a terrible way to go about running an organization. But my question would be, do you think those guys are ready? And, could this be the type of thing that signals, hey, we're going to make these moves. We think that it's time to go ahead and bring these guys up. You lost a bat, you lost an arm. We're going to give you a bat and give you an arm. And that this is the move that, those would be the moves that could instead fortify a team that just lost pieces to try to hang in this race for as long as they can.
I absolutely would, especially Gunnar Henderson. At this point, you have to think, what is he going to do in the minors to make him look even better? He's shot up all the rankings. Everyone's ranking him as a top 10 prospect now, generally higher. And that goes for the scouting side. You look at Keith Law or, again, my colleague Eric Longenhagen. They have both him in the top 5. Zips has him. The projections have him in the top 5, and that's purely data. He has an OPS over 900 as a shortstop for Norfolk. I think that there's not much left for him to prove, and I believe you should challenge your best talent. The Rays are believers in that. They do not fear trusting a young player, bringing them up, and using them in a big spot. You look at, they had Matt Moore make his major league debut in the playoffs about a decade ago.
Right.
It's something the Rays would do, and the Rays are very good at player development. And I think that Gunnar Henderson can help the team now. It's not just to, show off what they have in the organization of fans. Gunnar Henderson gives the team a better shot to make the playoffs than they would have before. And I think the same goes with Hall. Yes, Hall has command issues, but the rotation is definitely the weak part of the team. Tyler Wells is still out, and he's kind of been, I guess, in a way, the highlight other than Kramer. I think that there is something to really recommend looking at Hall. Trial by fire. The hottest fire, forges the strongest steel.
You know what? I was just about to say that, Dan. That's exactly what I was about. But I like that. I do like that line. And I think it would go a long way to saying, hey, look, this is who we are now. This is the team. Let's go get it done. All right, here's Baltimore's own Dan Szymborski. Dan, what can I plug for? Obviously, Fangraphs. I know you've done some stuff. What all can I plug for you, sir?
Well, we are doing a lot of trade deadline stuff on Fangraphs the next few days, so definitely check that out. It's going to keep me up probably 23 hours a day for the next day or two.
Shoo. It's all over at 6. It's all over. It's all over at that point.
Yeah, but then there's the postmortems
right.
and the projections.
Everybody wants to know about their new players now. I get it. I completely understand.
Our trade deadline goes into late Wednesday into Thursday.
I get it. And it does now look like apparently, I guess, the Juan Soto thing's going to happen with the Padres. The heat is all over that thing. All right, Dan, always appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning, and especially last minute. Let's do it again soon, all right?
Always fun. Thanks for having me.
Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs and ESPN. I got this message from Matt Torper, who's one of our regulars. Disappointed by the Lopez deal. Expected deals for him or Santander to bring back better value than Mancini. Why not showcase Lopez for the rest of the year and try to flip him this offseason if his value is that low right now? Well, and again, that falls into the idea that, internally the Orioles are worried that this is as good as it's going to get for Jorge Lopez. That what they know of him and what they think of his talent, his stuff, is that he has outperformed any reasonable expectation you could have, and that if you keep throwing him out there, then there are going to be more and more warts, and his value will lessen by the time you get to the end of the season. Because the argument is reasonable. It's reasonable. What? If you can't get more than this. Now, again, internally, what if If Mike Elias was being honest, he'll probably say he was being honest. Mike Elias would say to you, we love these guys. The hell with somebody else's top 30 prospect list. We know these guys. We scouted these guys. These guys are players. We made moves today. That's what Mike Elias would say. Is he right? You, me, Carson, Griffin. I mean, we had none of us. We're guessing. We're guessing. But that's what he would say. He would say, we got guys that we liked. And just because they don't show up in the top 10 list of somebody's prospect rankings doesn't mean they aren't helpful pieces that are going to be good for this organization for years to come. That's what Mike Elias would say. I'm with you, though, Matt. My initial reaction to the Lopez deal is, really?
Yeah.
Like, that's it? That's it? I mean, it looks like quantity over quality to me.
I mean, I guess I understand Dan's argument when he was saying, the Orioles shown they can develop, these random relievers.
But particularly bullpen arms, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I guess maybe my hope was that you were going to get more than that for Jorge Lopez, right? Like more
Me
than
too.
Somebody that could be a developed bullpen arm. But time will tell. Time will tell.
I do want to point out real quick.
Yes.
Since we're on the topic of the Twins.
Oh.
Just these. So between now and August, 10th.
Okay.
They got to play the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Giants, the Red Sox, the White Sox, the Yankees, and the Guardians.
This is the Twins?
Yeah, this is the Twins.
Okay.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, you can understand why they wanted to add. I don't know. Matt, I understand your disappointment. I'm feeling that too. Right, I'm feeling like they did better for Trey Mancini on paper than But again, I'm saying all this on paper. I don't know these guys. I think they did better than I expected them to do for Mancini. I didn't think they did as well as I expected them to do for Lopez. Maybe you call all that a wash.
I was going to say, maybe does that just balance out?
Right?
I guess.
Maybe. But what I would say is today either they better show me that they're looking to acquire a pitcher for the next couple of years. The one thing that feels disappointing is it doesn't appear as though they're starting to prioritize 2023 either. Like the disappointment about them not going all in for 2022, I can push that aside because it's unlikely. It doesn't feel like they're prioritizing 2023 either. So either they do that or, again, they can mitigate some of the disappointment by announcing some call-ups in the next couple of days that feel impactful. We'll talk about that more. We got to get to Simply the Bet, so let's wind down. By the way, if you missed it last night, Stan the Fan and Ross Grimsley also caught up with the great Tim Kirkchen from ESPN. You can find it right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports, PressBoxOnline.com/video, or YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline. Tidbit brought to you by the print issue of PressBox, which is the Salute the Coaches issue. It's available right now at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of the hundreds of locations around town where you find PressBox. Read it all, PressBoxOnline.com. John Harbaugh's on the cover. We celebrate all of the area coaches who have recently surpassed or approaching significant milestones, all celebrated inside our Salute the Coaches issue, available right now. Griffin, what you got?
All right, so I want to do the Bill Russell one. It's a pretty quick one, which I think is suitable for today. But
maybe not the best. We're like, just save it for tomorrow. We have
no.
about a billion other things going on.
Well, it was the one.
No
I
offense
had
to Bill
now.
Russell.
But I wanted to do most because he's obviously considered, pretty much the greatest
NBA
champion
titles,
of all time. So I want to do who has the most wins in NBA history as a player. What player has the most wins?
The one?
Let's do the top 5. I mean, you should be able to get them all.
Tim Duncan.
There you go. Number three. Tim Duncan has over 1,000. 1,001 actually.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
There you go. He is number 1, 1,074. LeBron is up there when you include playoff wins. He is top 5, but regular season wins he is 7th.
Magic Johnson. No, his career was not long enough.
No, it was not.
Larry Bird.
No, Larry Bird is not up there.
So I'm thinking I got to go a bit older than
Jordan.
There's a Celtic in the top 5 though. No, Jordan, yeah, because Jordan didn't he hit that
I guess
gap, so
he wasn't long enough.
He was not up there.
Well, and the Bulls were really bad at the beginning. People forget that. People they
86 to 89, it was not
a good team. All right, we don't have time. I'm sorry. You're just gonna tell me.
Robert Parrish, number 2.
I never would have got that.
And by the way, everybody forgets Robert Parrish also managed to jump on Bulls teams at the end of his career. At least got one ring with the Bull. Like Robert Parrish was the chief.
John Stockton, 953. Fourth.
Okay.
Karl Malone is fifth. And Dirk Nowitzki is sixth. LeBron was seventh.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. All right. Very good. Sorry. We just didn't have
winningest
a lot of time
players,
today.
yeah.
Tubular tonight brought to you by Glory Days Grill. I got to share. I took a picture of the opener, the flash fried pork belly with the Korean number 2 sauce. I was there on Friday. Oh, my God. I don't know how it sounds when I describe it. I promise you it's even better than that. I wanted to lick the bowl. I literally did the bit where I saw my buddy that I was at Glory Days with. I watched to see if he would look away so I could run my finger inside the bowl and then lick the sauce off of my finger after the pork belly was gone. GloryDaysGrill.com. Get over there before the opener is gone. It's insane.
And they have wings with the number 2 sauce, too.
They also, you know what? Thank you, Carson. They do have that.
I went last week.
Did you really?
I did.
You can put
After
it on the smoke it. Dude, it's so great. So great. All right. Here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. The Orioles do indeed continue their series with the Rangers this evening. Jordan Lyles, as long as he's not dealt, is on the mound against Spencer Howard. Masson 2 at 8 o'clock. Masson for Mets Nationals at 7. Probably not Juan Soto, though. MLB Network Blue Jays Rays at 7. PBS Dodgers Giants at 9:30. Everything else, just go to GlennClarkRadio.com because we don't have time. Non-sports at a highlight or two.
What We Do in the Shadows, Only Murders in the Building.
Do you like those shows? I do like those shows. Carson, you're on social.
At Carson Ware.
Carson Ware with an I. Give him a follow there.
That's right.
Thanks today to Dan Szymborski. Thanks also to Eric Arditti. Thanks to Femi Ayanbadejo and Bruce Zimmerman. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. So tomorrow, what are we doing tomorrow?
Let's see. We have Drew Forrester.
Okay.
We have. We'll see how things develop.
Okay, there we go. Big push for tomorrow's show.
Oh, Mike Devereaux.
Mike Devereaux. We missed today. We're going to catch up with tomorrow to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Camden Yards. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, Great 8's Memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook, Live Casino and Hotel, All-America Lacrosse, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass, to Ryan at RexPex Ryan. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Boom.
At Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday night. Go Birds. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too. If you're with us on video, give us a minute. Come back. If you're with us on audio, do nothing. Simply the Bets is next.